News 3 continuing coverage tonight on the murder-suicide in our valley this week. It took the lives of 2 children and their mother. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Latoya Silman.
And I'm Jim Snyder. Our newsroom receiving new details about the gunman Marvin Patterson, who also took his own life. Patterson had prior sexual abuse allegations that began in July of last year. Police say his daughter told police Patterson pulled down her pants, tried to sexually assault her. The report also states Patterson's other daughter also acknowledged being a victim of Patterson's abuse. He was taken into custody for attempted sexual assault and later released on bail.
My name is Robert Price. I'm a lieutenant with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Today I'm here to brief you on a very sad and tragic event, a homicide that took place at the 7500 block of Oso Blanca, which is the apartment complex directly behind me. Details of the call were LVMPD dispatch received a 911 call from an individual stating he came to the apartment complex to check up on his brother. Upon his arrival, he made entry into the house and observed several individuals inside the house suffering from gunshot wounds. He immediately stepped out, called 911, and officers from the Northwest Area Command responded on scene. They made entry, began rendering aid. One of the individuals seemed to be clinging for life and was transported by medical to UMC Hospital. The other 4 individuals inside the residence was pronounced deceased on scene. He made entry into the house and observed several individuals inside the house suffering from gunshot wounds.
Police say 42-year-old Marvin Patterson killed himself and 3 others, including 2 children, in a shooting at a Centennial Hills apartment complex on Monday.
At the time all of this happened, Marvin Patterson was not a free man. He was out on bond, wearing an ankle monitor, under house arrest, and facing 9 felony charges.
Family and friends gather. They describe Shannara as a loving mom and friend, and her girls as just the happiest little girls.
This was not supposed to happen. She was sweet, kind, do anything for you.
Shannara's sister, Michaela Bernuti.
She was there no matter who you was, how long she knew you. If she had it, she go give it to you.
Her name was Shannara Patterson. She was 34 years old. She had turned 30 for the night before. Her daughter Keziah was 14. Her daughter Zamira was 6. Her son DJ was 11. He was the only one still breathing when the door was kicked in. And this is Marvin Ray Patterson, her husband, the man she believed in when no one else did. Before Shannara Patterson became a name in a police report. Before she became a headline, a vigil, a GoFundMe page. She was a little girl in Long Beach, California. Born on December 10th, 1989. She grew up in a home her family described as full of love. From early on, she had 2 things in abundance: a sense of style and a sense of loyalty. Those 2 things would define her entire life. As a teenager, she started doing her mother's hair, then her sister's, then friends of friends. She had a gift, not just for technique, but for reading people, for knowing what a woman needed the moment she sat down in that chair. She became a licensed cosmetologist, specializing in braiding, wig installations, and custom hairstyles. Her clientele was notably women of color. Women who needed someone who understood not just their hair, but their story. Her work showed up on social media. People took notice. She also built a second business, custom treats, creating personalized clothing, custom glasses, party favors, and accessories for birthdays, baby showers, and celebrations. Shannara built a small empire around making people feel seen on their most important days. She had the talent. She had the discipline. And she did all of it while being a full-time mother to 3 children. Her firstborn daughter, Kazir Khan, who everyone called Zir, was born in October of 2009. She was goofy, creative. She loved to draw. Her son, Derek Cox Jr., known to everyone as DJ, came in December of 2012. Shannara's only son. By every account, she loved that child fiercely. And her youngest, Zamira, who everyone called Duty, was born in September of 2017. Her aunt would later describe her as the sweetest child she had ever met. A little girl who did not have a mean bone in her body. People who knew Shannara said her home was always open. Here was always food. Always music. She was the type of mother who went all out for her children. Themed birthday parties, custom outfits, matching decorations. She passed her sense of style directly to her kids. Her sister Michaela later said this about her.
If she had it, she go give it to you.
By the time Shannara made her life in Las Vegas, she had already built something real. Her businesses, her reputation, her children. And then, in the spring of 2019, she added one more thing to that life. A husband. Shannara Patterson and Marvin Ray Patterson got married on May 5, 2019. In Las Vegas, they built a wedding website. They invited family and friends. They celebrated the way Shannara celebrated everything, properly, with intention, with love. Marvin Ray Patterson had been born and raised in Las Vegas. He carried himself as an entrepreneur and a family man. He was a video engineer, co-owner of a company called On Point Industries LLC. By all outward appearances, he fit into Shannara's world seamlessly. He made videos with her children. He was present. He was involved. His divorce from his first wife had been finalized in April of 2019. He married Shannara the very next month. To everyone watching, they were a family. On their wedding registry, Shannara wrote these words. There comes a time in life when you meet someone that you just want to love and make smile for. The rest of your life. It's amazing when God sends you someone who appreciates you for everything someone else took for granted. Someone who loves me for me. Someone who is patient, forgiving, and humble. Someone who never belittles me, even in the heat of an argument. Someone who can make me laugh, smile, and grow. Someone who always looks out for me and wants the very best for me. And for that, I will never take you for granted. Falling in love is like finding a part of you that you didn't realize you were missing. And then, suddenly you meet someone who completes you and makes you feel whole. She was not writing about a perfect man. She was writing about a man who made her feel safe, seen, valued. She was describing what it felt like to be loved after perhaps not being loved well enough before. And the most painful detail of that wedding day, Her father had been battling cancer. He made it to that aisle. He walked his daughter to Marvin Patterson. He held on long enough to see her married. And then, not long after, he let go. The people close to Shannara say she never fully recovered from that loss. Her father had been her anchor, her main source of support. And when he was gone, something shifted. And then the pandemic came. Hair salons, event businesses, two of the hardest hit industries in the world shut down. Almost overnight. Shannara kept fighting to keep both businesses alive. She managed. But the financial ground beneath her feet was no longer solid. And through all of that, Marvin was there. Nobody in Shannara's circle saw what was coming. But law enforcement had been building a different picture of Marvin Patterson for years. According to court documents, the alleged incidents took place in and around the spaces where he lived, around children who trusted him, and families who had no reason not to. In July of 2022, a report was filed with Child Protective Services. Detectives began investigating. One victim came forward and told investigators she had waited years before disclosing, not for herself, but because she wanted the other victims to also be believed. Let that sit with you for a moment. She waited, not for herself, but so that others would be heard. In October of 2022, Marvin Patterson was arrested. The charges were 5 counts of lewd acts with a child under age 14, 2 counts of sexual assault, minor under age 16, 1 count of lewd conduct with a child under 16, 1 count of first-degree kidnapping of a minor, 9 felony counts, 4 separate children, nearly a decade of alleged criminal behavior. Initial bail was set at $100,000 by a substitute judge. The conditions were strict: surrender his passport, submit to high-level electronic monitoring, and have absolutely no contact with any person under the age of 18. Marvin Patterson could not post that bail. He sat in custody. 2 months later, his defense attorney, Brett Whipple, filed a motion to reduce bail. The arguments: the original amount was unaffordable. Marvin was not a flight risk, and the state's evidence, the motion argued, was not strong enough to justify keeping him in custody. The motion even described the rape and kidnapping charges as having, and I am quoting directly from the court document, a scant backing, given that said victim voluntarily resided with Mr. Patterson and his wife and kids at the time. That sentence is in a court document. On December 15, 2022, the motion was heard before Judge Diana Sullivan. The Clark County District Attorney's Office opposed the reduction. District Attorney Steve Wolfson argued against it. His team made their position clear. And then, Shannara Patterson walked into that courtroom. She was not the only one who showed up for Marvin that day. His brother was there. An ex-girlfriend was there. But Shannara, his wife, the mother of his youngest child, the woman who had written those words on their wedding registry, she stood up. She vouched for him. She looked at a courtroom full of people who had read those 9 felony counts, and she told that room, I believe in this man. Judge Diana Sullivan made her decision. She reduced Marvin Patterson's bail from $100,000 to $10,000. The ankle monitor remained. The passport stayed surrendered. The order to stay away from anyone under 18 remained in place. Marvin posted bond shortly after through a Las Vegas bail company. He was out. On paper, the system had drawn a line, but Shannara had already drawn her own. After December 2022, both Shannara and Marvin were living under enormous pressure, but of very different kinds. Marvin had his apartment costs, his car payments, his legal fees, and a jury trial set for April 29th, 2024, a date growing closer by the month. On Shannara's side, the financial pressure had not eased. Without Marvin contributing to the household, she was carrying costs alone. Her businesses had not fully recovered from the pandemic years. She kept working. She kept mothering. She kept going. But by late November of 2023, 13 months after Marvin's arrest, her landlord confirmed that she had fallen behind on rent. Shannara Patterson was evicted. Homeless. In Las Vegas. With 3 children. No confirmed immediate alternative. And she loved Marvin. Whatever those court documents said, she loved him. She made a decision. She moved herself, Keziah, 14, DJ, 11, and Zamira, 6, into Marvin's apartment. Stay with that for a moment. She had lost her father. She had fought to keep 2 businesses alive through a pandemic. She had stood up in a courtroom for her husband. And now, with nowhere else to go, she chose the one person she still believed in. Those children had no choice. Zamira was 6 years old. Keziah was 14. DJ was 11. None of them chose to walk through that door. December 10th, 2023. Shannara Patterson turned 34 years old. There was a celebration. Her children were with her. She was laughing. By every account, it was a good night. She had no idea it was her last one. That same night, while Shannara was celebrating, Marvin texted his brother, Jason. He told him he was being evicted from the apartment, that his car had been repossessed, that with the trial coming in April, life was hitting him very hard, that he was losing everything. Jason sent words of encouragement, but he was worried. He decided he would go check on his brother first thing the following morning. Shannara went to sleep that night as a 34-year-old woman. She never woke up as one. On the morning of December 11th, 2023, Jason arrived at the Loretto and Palacio, apartments near Durango Drive and US Highway 95. He knocked. He called out. No answer. He kicked the door in. The property manager had heard something and placed her own call to 911. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police responded at approximately
Northwest Area Command responded on scene. They made entry, began rendering aid. One of the individuals seemed to be clinging for life and was transported by medical to UMC Hospital. The other 4 individuals inside the residence was pronounced deceased on scene.
10 a.m. We have 1 adult male deceased, an adult female deceased, 2 juveniles deceased, and 1 juvenile at UMC Hospital clinging to life. The Clark County Coroner's Office later confirmed the identities. Shannara Patterson, 34 years old. She had turned 30 for the night before. Kazire Khan, 14 years old. Goofy. Creative. She loved to draw. Shannara Patterson, 6 years old. The sweetest child. No mean bone in her body. Marvin Ray Patterson, 42 years old. Investigators determined he had shot all of them and then turned the gun on himself. DJ was rushed to University Medical Center. He was alive, but barely. The trial that had been set for April 29, 2024 would never happen. This is the question people always ask. How could she stand up for him? How could she, knowing those charges, knowing those 9 felony counts, knowing that 4 separate children had come forward independently? How could she bring her children into that apartment? Here is the honest answer. Shannara Patterson was not a naive woman. She had built 2 businesses from the ground up. She had raised 3 children largely on her own. She had buried her father and kept going. She had survived a pandemic that nearly destroyed everything she built. And she kept going. She was not a woman who did not understand the world. She was a woman who could not reconcile the man in those court documents with the man she had married. The man who had shown up. The man who made videos with her kids. The man she had written those wedding registry words about. Her friends noticed. One of them said it plainly, later. She couldn't talk to me about Marvin. I don't like Marvin. That silence tells its own story. When you love someone that the people around you no longer trust, the easiest thing to do is stop talking. Stop explaining. Stop having to defend a position you are perhaps quietly questioning yourself. In the dark hours of the morning, alone. And that is the thing about intimate partner dynamics that the outside world struggles to hold. Belief is not always a failure of intelligence. Sometimes it is the direct result of a very deliberate construction. Sometimes a person has spent years being exactly who you needed them to be. Precisely so that, when the moment comes, you will stand up in a courtroom and say, I know him. This is not who he is. That is not stupidity. That is the architecture of manipulation, built carefully, over years, by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. That same evening, December 11th, family, friends, and community members gathered outside those apartments. They lit candles.
They described Shannara as a loving mom and friend, and her girls as just the happiest little girls.
This was not supposed to happen. She was sweet, kind, do anything for you.
Shannara's sister, Michaela Bernuti.
She was there no matter who you was, how long she knew you. If she had it, she go give it to you. She was sweet. Like, she was the most innocent child I ever met. Like,
they shared stories. At University Medical Center, DJ was fighting. His father, Derek Cox Sr., never left his side. For weeks, for months, he documented every step publicly. Small milestones, signs of life, a community praying alongside him. DJ held on for 9 months. In September of 2024, he lost his fight. He was 11 years old on the morning of December 11th, 2023. Judge Diana Sullivan never commented publicly. The district attorney's office had argued against the bail reduction. The judge reduced it anyway. Marvin posted bond. And 13 months later, the woman who stood up for him was gone. This story is told too often as a story about a bad man. And Marvin Patterson was, by every account of the evidence, a dangerous man who caused immeasurable harm. But the story of Shannara Patterson is not about him. It is about a woman who loved, deeply, completely, and at the cost of everything. It is about what happens when that love is used against itself. She believed him. She stood up for him in a room full of people trying to stop him. She brought her babies to him when she had nowhere else to go. And she never saw December 11th end. If you are watching this and you see pieces of Shannara's story in someone you love, their isolation, the financial pressure, the silence around a partner nobody else trusts, please reach out. Reach out via National Domestic Violence Hotline. 1-800-799-7233, available 24/7. Text START to 88788. For more true stories like this, kindly subscribe, share and like. The warning signs were there. The people who loved Shannara saw them. They just had no way to reach her in time.